The family of a man shot and killed by a Jacksonville sheriff's officer last month want their hands on the hotel surveillance video, and they believe it could paint a picture of excessive force. The attorney for Michael Hughes' family spoke with First Coast News about the case. On Your Side's Robert Bradfield reports on their efforts to get more details surrounding his March 30th death.
Attorney Marwan Porter says he has pieces of information about what happened the day Michael Hughes died, but he wants the whole picture, including more video of the encounter Hughes had with two Jacksonville sheriff's officers.
That is the important question that we all need to answer. What happened outside? Was he a threat?
In a news conference following the March 30th shooting, JSO says Hughes managed to grab one of the officer's tasers and used it on the officer, leading that officer to fatally shoot Hughes in the struggle. But Porter says eyewitnesses tell a different story. Hughes wasn't intending to use the taser. Instead, he was making sure the officer wasn't going to use it on him.
A good excuse or reason or whatever it may be was he's reaching for my taser. No, he wasn't reaching for his taser. He was trying to disarm the officer.
Porter says the two body-worn cameras did not capture the shooting. One became dislodged and turned off. The other fell to the ground, only providing audio. He wants the state attorney's office to release footage caught by hotel cameras.
I think at that juncture, there could have been some de-escalation tactics implemented in order to prevent this young man from dying.
The state attorney's office has not made the hotel video public, but in a letter to the sheriff's department says releasing the video from the officer's cameras would not impair its investigation. JSO will ultimately decide when to release it, but has not told us when. Robert Bradfield, First Coast News, on your side.